Bottom line is this on the border, and that is in just a matter of a few weeks, I have done more to secure the border with Mexico than President Biden has done in his entire time in office. The bottom line is this: Texans deserve safe communities, whether it's on the border, whether it's in San Antonio, whether it's in the Panhandle, it does not matter. Safety in your communities is of paramount importance in Texas. Safe communities is a Texas value. Safe communities need law enforcement officers to help keep those communities safe. Law enforcement officers like those here today. The reason why I came here today is to meet with these representatives of law enforcement to learn more about what we as a state can do to address crime in our state, as well as to address the challenges that these law enforcement officers are having. These are ideas and strategies on top of the ones I just told you about that we've already undertaken. And I wrote some notes down about some of the things that came up that I'll be taking back to Austin, Texas, and working with members of the legislature on. One is there is a need for increase in funding. As was pointed out, it's one thing to prevent cities from defunding law enforcement, but when you look at the increase in population, that leads to an increase in demand for law enforcement, an increase in demand that's not being met with the funding that's being provided. And so we will look into strategies to provide more funding and establish higher staffing levels to ensure that law enforcement will be able to achieve our common goal, and that is to provide safe communities. Another thing that was brought up today is something that legislators in Austin, we grappled with this past session, but were unable to come up with an answer to. But because I heard it again today, we're going to go work to tackle it again this next session. And that is, we as a state need to hold district attorneys accountable for their lax policies and not prosecuting certain crimes that either let dangerous criminals out of being prosecuted, or because of their lax policies, it leads to more crime. An easy example is some DAs have a practice of not prosecuting people who steal under a certain dollar amount. If that's going to happen, that's going to lead to great devastation for the stores that are providing goods that these criminals can just walk in and walk out with. And so we will once again be addressing whether or not there are strategies that the state of Texas can use to hold district attorneys accountable for not enforcing the laws that are policy decisions by the legislature that are imposed in statute. Another thing brought up, which I thought was interesting because it's contrary to what I hear from other voices. The comment was more law enforcement officers who focus on mental health. So that there are certain crime scenes or certain situations where a law enforcement officer will be called out to that does require someone with mental health expertise. Some have said that, well, as opposed to sending a law enforcement officer, something like a social worker should be sent. And as was easily pointed out, those situations can quickly escalate from something that's not potentially criminal or not potentially dangerous to something that is both dangerous and criminal, which is why you need a trained law enforcement officer who's also trained with mental health skills to be able to de-escalate that situation in a very peaceful way. And then I could go on. I'll mention one last thing because it's something that I thought we had taken care of, but apparently not. And that is, we're finding here in San Antonio, Texas, a proliferation of cartels advertising on TikTok, recruiting teenagers to assist the cartels in their crimes, whether it be smuggling people, smuggling drugs, or other crimes. That's something that must stop. And we're going to stop it first by talking to TikTok. I'm talking to TikTok directly right now. TikTok, stop allowing your platform to be used for cartels to advertise to recruit Texans or Americans to commit crimes aiding and abetting cartels. Otherwise, TikTok, you are a part of a criminal enterprise of aiding and abetting cartels committing crimes in the United States of America. Texans want a law and order state. I will work with our law enforcement officers to achieve that goal.